I'm here with Cannell of Video Influencers and Think Media, and we are going to talk to you, no matter what level you're at, about growing your business using YouTube to get your first 100,000 subscribers and your first 6 figures in revenue. Welcome to The Sunny Show, for the bright side of being your own boss and building your own life. How did we do it, and what was the process from start to finish? So let's dive into that. How do you feel like you've progressed and evolved?
Yeah, I think for me, I'm looking back now, I look at it in seasons of really the side hustle season, the solopreneur season, and the scale season, which is we're kind of both in now, where we're scaling our businesses. And I think that most people, and if they're watching, they're aspiring to maybe be entrepreneurs, make money online, figure out a way to create a business around their lifestyle. That was definitely my dream and my passion. And if we take it all the way back, it actually was a spark that was kind of started by a book called Crush It by Gary Vaynerchuk.
Awesome.
And I read that back in 2009, and I started to dabble on YouTube. And what I discovered was the combination of YouTube and affiliate marketing. And so being a video production person myself, I've been doing video since 2003, I just took my passion and started talking about what I knew about online, helping people find cameras, lighting, microphones, whatever it was. But because of doing YouTube and affiliate marketing and doing what you teach a lot, which is helping people rank videos.
Right, yep.
I was getting these videos that would show up around search terms, and then people would click products. But you know what's funny is before I even did tech, I actually did a video called Gift Ideas for Him.
Oh.
So I have a whole channel, just my Cannell channel. I don't really do much with it now, but it gave me a place to experiment, just get started. And I really recommend that people do that. If you don't know what to do,
experiment and test first.
Experiment and test.
Yeah.
And what's funny is I also like to say I have a couple YouTube channels that really didn't work that helped me get to the one that did, or the 2 that did. And so that experiment, though, even to this day, I think if you type that in, it still ranks like 4 or 5. It has almost 1 million views. And all I did was gather up some things from around the house, some headphones, some books, whatever I think that, to give people some ideas for their husband, their father, their boyfriend, whoever, gift ideas for him. And it was all affiliate links. And then I was like, wait a minute, we're making $5 online. In a month, though. In a month.
But still, that's amazing.
It's like proof of concept. Then it was like 25 a month later, and we just continued to scale that. And while that is not, life-changing by any means, it really is. Because as soon as you make your first dollar online, you're like,
set.
it's like a light bulb goes off. And you're like, all I need to do is scale this. What was the first time you ever just had that aha moment?
Okay, so it's so funny because similar content. So I created a video. My first business was an online magazine, and it was for men, written by women. And one of the first videos I ever created was about Valentine's Day ideas. And that video started ranking. I was like, oh my gosh, where's all this traffic coming from and stuff? Didn't really think anything of it, didn't really go back to it. But with that business, because of the traffic that we had accumulated and it got a little popular, I remember selling my first ad on my website.
Yeah.
And it was about $500.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I've made it.
Yeah, completely.
This is all I need.
This is Christmas every day.
Yeah. So it really does change everything because you have the proof that you're able to do it. Whether it's $5 or $500, you know that it's possible.
Yep.
And you know that you're creating something that people see as valuable.
Yeah.
So to give some context, we're going to kind of go through each of those seasons and where you need to start with your YouTube channel and building your business using YouTube, all the way up to the state that we're at now. I have a crew, I have a team who helps me produce my videos, but kind of like taking it back to grassroots of where you actually start. And for context, let's just say, where are you at in your business today versus when we first met a couple years ago?
Yeah, well, today in our business, we're actually built like a 7-figure annual per year business, 6 team members based in Las Vegas. And that's actually just my personal business, Think Media, over a couple years to think about that.
Yeah.
And I know you're doing similar things.
Yeah, it's funny how it's been very aligned. Like our growth has been very aligned, and same situation. We're at a place where we now have 7 team members, quadrupling our revenue last year. So we're in really good spots and very similar spots, but it's really important to remember that we started from very humble beginnings.
Completely. And I think one of the biggest mistakes that we see people making online, we were talking about this off camera, is really, we listen to all these different people we follow. Think about the other people you follow, the business gurus, the entrepreneur gurus, whoever. And people are dispensing advice, but one of the things that I think we all sometimes miss is that it's contextual advice.
Yes.
that if Gary Vaynerchuk or whoever, Marie Forleo, is saying something, sometimes they're saying that from a perspective of they've got 700 employees.
There you go.
They've got unlimited money in the bank.
There you go.
And so if they're saying this is what they're focusing on, that's not necessarily what you should be focusing on, because it depends on what season you're in. A lot of aspiring and online entrepreneurs are in that side hustle season.
Yes.
And it's funny because both of us have built our businesses in similar ways, leveraging the power of YouTube as a search engine.
Yes, with traffic.
And the reason I loved YouTube the most was because all these other social networks, they're great, and we do, of course, invest energy in them. But I kind of consider Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, these other platforms, they're not search engines, and they're kind of like the social media hamster wheel.
Yes. 100%. I kind of call it like the viral platforms versus the value platforms.
Sure.
I see YouTube as, I wish everyone in the world could understand how amazing it is because it works for you and it's this long-term play. And I have videos that are bringing me hundreds of leads every single day.
Yes.
So, and I'm not doing anything.
Yep.
I post it, I did the job, I created value, I'm getting leads from it. Whereas for other platforms, it's kind of like you got to strike where the iron's hot. Post content, hope people see it, hope you generate some business from it.
And the demand, they say to be relevant on Facebook, it's 4 times a day.
Yes.
Instagram, it's twice a day.
Yes.
The cool thing about YouTube and why in the side hustle season I loved it was because I had a full-time job. I'm trying to balance family. I'm trying to balance even other side hustle, side work, and build my YouTube channel, my online influence, my business on the side. And so I would focus on trying to put out quality videos, but I couldn't even do them every week.
Right.
I might have been able to do like 3 in a month, but then I would go dark for like 2 months. But because they would rank in search, then I could get, as the line I steal from you all the time, views while you snooze.
Yes.
Yeah, you get views while you snooze, which is cool because I would be at Red Robin waiting tables on the climb up, right? And I would be thinking, man, I'm getting views though. Like even if it's 10 a day.
I'm getting traffic. People are discovering me for the first time.
And so while I'm here waiting tables, making tips, I've also got, even if it's slow, my business is growing online. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
absolutely. And that's really the beauty of YouTube. And I think it's so important to say that because it really is easy to know, preach consistency. And if you're at a certain level, you need consistency. But if you're in that side hustle mode for YouTube, I think it's all about quality versus quantity. Focus on creating videos that are going to get picked up in search and you're using the right keywords and you're focusing on, frequently asked questions from your audience that you've heard me talk about till I'm blue in the face. That's what you want to work on and create videos that will work for you for years to come.
I totally agree. And I've heard it said that YouTube's kind of like a content library.
Yes.
And a library is full of books. Books take time to write. Mm-hmm. Books are organized. Books are thoughtful. Snapchat, Instagram stories, those are like pamphlets.
Yes.
They're like flyers. They get thrown away. Mm-hmm. So even though you don't need to write a book every YouTube video, I do like to approach it with an intentionality to create something that can work for you. Just imagine, if you think about the video you put out, it's going to be viewed 3 years later. You probably want that to be
change the game a little.
Yeah, and not only how you approach it, but also how much you're willing to put in up front.
Yes.
I had that unlock, and I know you did as well, to say this is a lot of hard work. And early on, when you're in that side hustle season, you're not getting the return on investment of your time, your energy, or your money based on the effort you're putting in. It's always heavier up front.
100% heavy lifting up front,
But you can do that because you have that commitment to the vision of what's possible. I'm going to do a really great job on these videos now because, and even if some of them don't rank, some of them might not last because if a few do, that could change your whole life. It changed ours.
It just takes one. That's the thing. I have one video that went crazy and it ended up on the first page of Google, and that video alone has brought in so many new people to my tribe to figure out who I am, and then they become customers or clients. And so it's really understanding that I like to treat each video as this individual traffic machine, basically.
Powerful. Last year had a viral video, and same thing. Commitment to the day in, day out weekly process. Sometimes it's not that sexy, it's not that glamorous.
No.
But one just got knocked out of the park, 2.3 million views.
There you go.
Are you talking about your iPhone video?
Yeah.
Yeah, it just boom, all of a sudden.
All of a sudden.
And you didn't know which video was going to be.
No.
But you committed to consistency.
I committed to consistency, and I committed to creating content that I knew my audience would actually care about.
That's powerful.
That's really what it is. So I think it's important to understand if you're in that side hustle phase, focus on quality versus quantity. Don't put pressure on yourself to be doing something every week. If you can, that's amazing. But really focus on having these individual videos that are going to work for you for years to come. And the other piece of that is, let's talk about the tools at that stage. So for me, I got started with a webcam. a window for natural lighting, which I still love natural lighting.
Yeah.
It's my favorite lighting.
Yeah.
And I had a stack of books as my tripod, and I would just sit in front of my window in my apartment on my couch and film, and literally was wearing like pajamas from down here, and I was wearing, you know, something nice up top, just so I looked somewhat professional. So that's how I started. What were your tools when you first got started?
So I'm not probably a good example because I am a video guy.
Yes, that's
and
true.
And so I've been doing video production since 2003, but I think I would speak to people in my tribe, in my community. Actually, Heather on my team, she's our operations officer, but she has a homeschool channel.
Amazing.
And she's doing exactly what you and I teach about ranking videos. And same thing. Her homeschool channel is like number 8 on her list to do.
Right.
She's got family, she's got her kids, she's got our business, she's got everything she's working on, but she just started with her iPhone. And she just started shooting on her iPhone. But Sunny, her channel, she's only put out about 23 videos, and she hates when I talk about this because she's been doing it for about a year, so not even one a week.
Right.
And her channel, though, 7,500 subscribers,
Good
a
girl.
250,000 video views.
Yeah.
iPhone. Getting started, because the reality is, especially in the side hustle season, but it's true almost in any season, is that it's never about the camera, it's always about the content.
Yeah.
You know, the content value is infinitely
Couldn't
more
agree more
important than the production value.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think people get so, I really do see it as almost like a limiting belief when people are like, what camera do I need? What lights do I need?
Yeah.
It's more so just you being afraid to put yourself out there than anything. So it's really just starting and trying it and hoping for the best. And then you get comfortable, and then you can do it more consistently. So that's a great example. So iPhone, when it's that like side hustle season, for me it was Logitech webcam, and for you obviously it's different because you're a video guy. And we can talk more about those more impressive tools in a second. But yeah, so that's really side hustle. So then we go into the solopreneur season. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, so the solopreneur season for me started actually just in January of 2016. And that was about the time where finally we didn't have clients anymore, we didn't have like agency work or whatever anymore. It was all YouTube and affiliate marketing actually only. And it was a different season because one, maybe note if we went back to that early season, I also would want to mention the power of focus. You definitely cannot do everything, and you can never do everything. But the power of focus, so many people are like, you need to be on every social media platform. That will kill you if you're in the side hustle season. When you move into the solopreneur season, I realized we have a little bit more time. I was still like pretty much just me and just kind of going all in for about 8 months before I could onboard some people. And so in that season, it was still the power of focus, but now I could deploy a lot of energy. And so it's hustle every season, but I found a new level of hustle in that solopreneur season. That like you have to wear every hat. You just are wearing every hat.
You do, and I think it's interesting how I kind of like visualize that solopreneur season is that you're kind of halfway up the mountain. So you've built momentum. You're already halfway there. You don't really want to turn back, and you feel a responsibility because you have clients, you have customers, you kind of built something. So if you stop, you're letting people down. So obviously you have to be aligned with it and excited about it, but like that's really where you are as a solopreneur. So it's kind of like you have no choice. But to just hustle, and you will get through it. We did. And you get out on the other side and go, oh my gosh, now I know what I need to do and how to do things. Now I can teach other people to take that off my plate and actually scale.
Yep, and so I think of some tips for that solopreneur season is that even if you can't do it yet, because some people we say you should get a team. You should get a team. You should get a team. But you might be like, I don't even have money for myself, let alone somebody else. You should still be thinking about a team. You should still be looking for a team. And actually, I mentioned, we were solo, and as far as YouTube creation of content, writing emails, doing all the social media, it was all me. But one person that did come on was Heather, who's now full-time with us. And actually, our initial conversation, though, she started saying, I could help you create some courses. I could help you do some things where I just didn't have the confidence to do that alone. And sometimes people ask, well, how'd you guys meet? I think part of the reason we met was because of committing to excellent content.
100%.
Attracted awareness because she saw what we were doing online and was interested in getting involved. She sat down, mentioned some of her skills, and I said, wow, you're perfect. We need to work together. I can't pay you.
I did the same thing. No, this is so interesting. I did the same thing. So Ayla, I'm sure everyone watching this knows who Ayla is. She's my right hand. She's my unicorn. When people ask me how I found her, I say she came from heaven. And she'll get really embarrassed about this too. But we met, and I was at that breaking point of being a solopreneur where I needed help. We were introduced through a friend. I will never forget the day I met her, and I sat down and I was like, you're it. You're hired. Sorry, I can't pay you right now. I need you to intern for a little bit, and then I promise you, like, I see this for a lifetime relationship between the two of us to grow this together. I promise you I will reward you when I can, and that's been the case. She's been with me now for almost 3 years, and she is the greatest thing that's ever happened in my business.
This is so weird. Intentionality. I think you should know what you want. Start architecting, start dreaming and mapping out, even journaling, the ideal business, even if it can't all be a reality right now. Because if you don't start thinking about it right now, you'll really never get there.
It will never happen. You have to sort of visualize it in order for it to come true. And so what I did was when I first knew I needed to hire somebody, I wrote down a list of the things that I just wasn't really good at. And it was taking so much of my mental space and time, and it wasn't my genius zone. And those were all the first things that I sort of trusted Ayla to take over. And I do believe in that growing together. And something else you said, when you're thinking about hiring a team from that solopreneur phase, is you want to make sure that you're working with people who are already sort of bought in to your brand. So pretty much everyone on my team now knew of what I did beforehand and was bought in and bought into the mission and the vision of what is for us our vision, which is really empowering people to shine and creating those success ripples so we can help people grow in their own terms and be their own boss and build their own life. So you have to work with people who get that. And for me, it's always about personality and drive and willingness to learn versus needing to know everything.
Completely. That's what we say too. We say character and chemistry. Like that the person's got to have integrity, they got to have character, they got to have chemistry. If you don't vibe with them, these are people you work with, especially we have home businesses. 100%. We work from our apartment in Vancouver, and, you know, but you're going to vibe with these people all the time. You want to have chemistry. Even if they have the greatest skills in the world, but you hate being around them, you don't want them on your team.
No.
And so those are the first two things. Competency, I think, is more like a willingness to learn. Because the crazy thing about our industry, we were just at traffic and conversion here, and the reality is you can't even know all the skills you need to know.
There's no way.
If you feel discouraged right now you feel like, man, I wish I knew like what Sunny knows, and I wish I knew. Here's the crazy thing is like in 6 months, you don't know what you need to know.
I don't.
It's such a fast-paced world.
It's so fast-paced. You have to continue to learn, and I think that's where growing up from the solopreneur phase to scaling the business is really where you and I have the time and space to do what we need to do to be on top of those things.
Absolutely.
And when you're in the hustle of doing everything, you really don't have that time and space. So that allows us to continue to scale and grow the business because we're staying on top of it.
Yeah, and I would say to really thrive in that solopreneur phase, the power of focus matters in every phase, but it really matters there because now all of a sudden I had all this time, I could do a million things. I think the key is to find one thing that works and to work it until that can scale to enough revenue that you can be in the scale season of begin to hiring. If you start spreading yourself too thin, shiny objects, you're like, I should create a course, but I should also be getting sponsors for my podcast, and I should be doing affiliate marketing, and I'm going to start coaching, and I'm going to start doing client work, and I'm going to do all this stuff, and they're all trickles. You kind of need to get that geyser, focus on that, because that's the thing that will be your ticket to the next step.
So true. There's a really great book called The One Thing. Have you read it? Okay. Highly recommend it. It talks about focusing on that one thing and using that. And it's similar to in business. I always talk about YouTube in that way too, is like you focus on the one platform that's going to give you the biggest return and it grows everything else. And then you can branch off and be like, oh, I want to up my Instagram game now. So that's something to remember too. You don't have to do it all in every sense, in business and in social and whatever else. You just really have to put your momentum and effort into that one thing that's going to work for you everywhere else. So I think to recap the solopreneur phase, I think it's at that point, you want to be a little more consistent. So ideally, if you can do one video a week, which is what I was able to do, just sitting in front of my webcam. And what I did to help me stay consistent was I would do 4 videos at a time. So I'd sit down for about 2 hours a month, and I'd do 4 videos at a time. And if you can't do 2 hours a month to create these 4 videos that are going to work for you for years to come and bring in leads for you, you got to reevaluate. So I knew it was going to grow the business, so I committed to it, and that was my one thing that I really focused on.
That's super powerful, and I love what you said, because by focusing on it, same thing, I focused all on YouTube, and to the neglect of my Instagram, of my Facebook.
Totally.
But what's crazy is now today, those things are growing so fast.
Because of YouTube.
But because one thing grew big enough. You got the influence there, so you could shift audiences rather than trying to build a bunch of things at once.
Yes.
And your energy, you're overwhelmed, you're stressed.
Totally.
Yeah.
So now we're at the stage of scaling. We're just continuing to grow the business. We built the authority. We're seen as experts, which is awesome. We have these amazing communities, so thank you. So really at this point, I am now, which is incredible and hopefully a little inspirational for you if you're watching and you're in that side hustle phase. I started as the side hustle. I had no help. It was just me. Went to the solopreneur, still filming by myself, and that built my business. Those one video a week for 2 years built my business to a place where I now have a team of 7 people, and I have a crew who helps me with my videos and makes them look as great as they do, and I'm able to focus on everything else in the business as well. That puts me in my zone of genius and makes me, even further as an authority. So scaling your business, when you get to that point, it's time to really invest in up-leveling everything, which we've recently done with the videos and our set and all of that. And that's when you can really have some fun with it, I think.
I totally agree. And I love where you said investing in up-leveling everything. If we even just go back to that side hustle season, I do think that once you hit that, and this is true for every season, that what mistake entrepreneurs make is as soon as you have a little bit success, you kind of get crazy.
Totally.
And I think that what I've always tried to do and on our team is whenever we've had success, we've tried to reinvest it back into the business.
Yes.
And sometimes that's back into the brand. You've done that.
Mm-hmm.
Back into up-leveling gear.
Yeah.
And so I would definitely say as soon as when you start making some income, some revenue, there is something about getting better gear, hiring somebody, or just contracting somebody. Even solopreneurs maybe hire out a videographer.
Totally a great thing to do.
Yeah, maybe something like that. Or you level up your camera, level up your lighting, because in today's world, it does help. Your brand, it can help you stand out to have crispy video, have the good lighting, start thinking about your set. But as we get into the scale season, it's funny, even just this year, we cover CES. That's where we first met, years ago, and we did our first video influencers interview. But that we even started thinking about like merch.
Totally.
We even started thinking about like how's our brand standing out. And the reality is again, I feel like that could be a shiny object for people.
Yep.
I'm glad I wasn't thinking about that. I was kind of just bootstrapping, scrappy, solopreneur.
So scrappy.
Yeah, just trying to get it done.
Yeah.
But then once we had more revenue, a little more time, being in that more mastermind position as we moved into team in that scale season, I started thinking, how can we make we just shot CES in all 4K.
Amazing.
Really crispy.
It looks really good.
Like great video quality.
Yeah.
And we got a little merch, so we showed up as a crew. We seemed more professional, all this kind of stuff. We had business cards.
But it takes time to get there.
And I think it's so funny because even like we didn't have business cards for a couple of years. Not that you need business cards. Who even uses business cards anymore? You need them at CES. For some reason at CES, that's like they said you need them to get in even. But whether that's your website, whether that's, I think you really, even at every stage, want to be committed to done is better than perfect. Yeah. But again, more so that as you move on, like trying to think about how to level up, and that's what we definitely did. And investing in our set. We're changing our house now. We're investing in building it out. You've built your things out, home studios, podcast microphones. And so when you get into that season, I think you want to, how can you make your brand stand out from other brands? Maybe you need a refresh, an overhaul of your brand. And
that also, keep in mind, can take time as well and can allow you, this space to kind of walk away. And I've done this. I've taken, a month off to really just tune into what it is that I want to do with the business and the brand and how I want to up-level it and then execute. So don't feel like you have to just keep going to keep going. I think it all comes back to having the intention of what the greater vision and mission is and then sticking to that and executing on it moving forward.
I agree. For scale, I think probably the biggest things, if we just thought about a couple actionable things, I think paid traffic was something that became that's something that scales, but it's hard to pay for traffic. It really isn't. It's kind of like which comes first, the chicken or the egg, but
totally.
never, because you need to pay for traffic to actually make revenue, but you don't have revenue to pay for traffic.
Yes.
But when you get to that scale season, that's another way to reinvest.
Totally.
Rather than spending your money here or there, we thought, man, we could reach more people by paying for Facebook ads, YouTube ads. I think also investing in even things like this.
Yep.
There was this is my first traffic and conversion, you know, and I'm all about investing in big events and plane tickets and so on and so forth. But sometimes you might feel that you're like, I wish I could go to that stuff. Well, I remember watching a lot of free stuff. I remember buying tickets to just the online recordings or the online webinars.
Education.
But at every level, leveling up that education and investing at a higher level.
Absolutely. Well, I think we nailed it. I think we definitely nailed it. If you need help with the tools as well, because I know you have a lot of recommendations when it comes to tools, is there any overarching right now, like if you're in that scale season, you want to invest in good cameras, what would you recommend?
Yeah, I think I definitely check out Think Media, the channel,
100%,
and it depends. I think that for like 4K content, which I don't think people need to do, but it is definitely like the premium. I think Sony cameras right now are pretty impressive. Some of the Sony cameras, even the A6500, other ones that are coming out. But I think that most DSLRs, what do you shoot on right now? Do you know?
Sony something.
Yeah, see?
Jer, could you tell me? No, Jer's gonna edit this. Jer's I call him Jer Bear. He's my videographer and editor, and he's incredible with Niche Media. And so he's up-leveled our gear every step of the way as well. So I went from the Logitech webcam to now we're using some Sony camera that looks awesome.
Yeah, and so definitely, I think Canon, Sony, there's a lot of good gear there. And some of the basics that Sony teaches so well is also that the most important part really of video, ironically, is lighting and audio.
That's it. That's all you need. If people can hear you and see you, you're good.
Yeah, and so if you haven't maybe invested in a good light kit, even there's one that's $75 that I love, and that's over on my channel too. You can get it on Amazon. There's also one that's about $500, like an LED kit that's really nice. And so it's within reach.
Totally.
And then, good microphones and you're good to go.
Cool. Well, and we'll put links to, of course, your channel and also to the lights that you mentioned below in the description so you guys can check them out. Thank you so much. I hope you guys found this valuable. If you did, put boss in the comments below and let us know. So before you go, we did this on your channel, the lightning round, and I love doing these. So I have just 3 questions for you. So first question, what is the best piece of entrepreneurial advice a mentor has ever given you?
That's super hard because I've got a lot of good advice, but I think one of them was that good is the enemy of the great.
Yes. Want to explain that one?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good things to do. I think it applies to so much. Like there's so many like good things you could do in your business, but there's one probably vertical of your greatness.
Totally.
There's so many shiny objects you could focus on, but there's one great thing out there. There's a lot of good fish in the sea for you, but there's one great person.
Yes.
Yeah, and that the good, if we fill our lives up with the good, we actually might be missing out.
Yeah.
On the great.
The great. I totally agree with that, and I feel like that's been a common theme of this whole conversation, focusing on the one thing that you're going to really soar at. Okay, so that's question 1. Question 2, best book that every boss should read.
Man, best book every boss should read. I definitely think Crushing It changed my life personally. I think, though, a lot of people in this community are probably already kind of thinking about crushing it and taking advantage of the opportunity of things that are happening right now. I want to give 2. I'm going to go to my man, John Maxwell, and say the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, and I think it's the 17 Laws of Teamwork.
Cool.
I think every boss should be thinking about how they can level up as a leader and lead great teams, even if you don't have one yet.
I love that. I haven't even read those, and I'm going to read them. Okay, so that's awesome. And then the final question is, my definition of being your own boss is showing up for yourself so you can show up for everything else personally and professionally. What's your definition of being your own boss?
I feel like being your own boss is creating a business around a lifestyle that allows you to do what you want, when you want, where you want, with the people that matter most to you. And so that's the kind of business we're trying to build, a life kind of on our own terms, with the people that we love the most and in places that we love to be. And obviously that's an incredible thing to aspire to. And but I think it's possible for us and for everybody watching. And that's what I would say.
And that's a perfect answer, and I think it's important to remember no matter what phase you're at, we started at a place where that was not even a reality, and we've built it to a place where it absolutely is, and we're very fortunate, but it takes work. It takes dedication, it takes work, it takes being an expert, and it takes constant education. So thank you so much. This was so wonderful. Where can people find you? Where do you want to send my audience to?
I think that the first thing that they should do is check out our interview with you over on Video Influencers.
We'll link to that in the cards.
Yeah, we'll link that up. And so a lot of good content shared there. That's a great channel with tips for video as well. But over on Think Media is probably the best place to go. You could just search it on YouTube or link in the description, right? And that definitely helping people with gear, even if it's no matter what budget you're on, from premium gear to if you're just starting out. We have a lot of videos and playlists to help you find the right tools for building your influence online. And never let that be a hindrance. We already talked about it. Like start with what you have, but as you scale, be thinking about how to level up your gear, your content, your lighting, and all those types of things. Think Media.
Awesome. Think Media is the place to go. We'll link to all of that below. Thank you so much for watching. This was a little longer than usual, but I think it was value-packed info. So thank you to Sean. Thank you to you for watching. Remember, if you like this video, hit that like button below. Share it with your fellow bosses, and be sure to subscribe. We'll see you in the next video.